Was Mike Riley the former Republican town committee chair? Okay.
Didn't you already speak about it?
No.
I thought we did a moment of silence.
Nope, we didn't. I'm going to make it very brief.
Jerry.
All right. Good evening, everyone. The time is now 7:02 p.m. and the date is December 15th, 2025, and we are here for the regular meeting of the Narragansett Town Council. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge the events of this past weekend in the Brown community, and I just want to read a short statement that I've written. The Narragansett community stands with Brown University and the Providence community. Our hearts are with the families and students impacted by this tragic event. We are holding all those affected in our thoughts and prayers during this incredibly difficult time. We extend our deepest gratitude to the police officers, first responders, and hospital workers whose swift actions and compassionate care help protect and support the victims. We pray for the healing of those harmed, for comfort for their loved ones, and for strength and peace for all who are serving and responding in the aftermath. And I also want to dedicate a moment of silence for the victims, as well as a passing of a member in our community, Mr. Mike Riley, husband to Lori Kelly, former chair of the Narragansett Republican Town Committee and owner of the Narragansett Casino, an active member of the community. We send our sincerest condolences to Lori Kelly and the family of Mr. Mike Riley. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So the first item on our agenda, we're very excited to welcome in our spotlight of schools, Dr. Cummings, who will be introducing our guests, who will be talking about a Model United Nations experience. So very excited to hear this. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. So we are extremely proud of our relatively new Model UN program. And so I'd like to introduce Ms. Katie Jones, who is the advisor and a most outstanding social studies teacher at Narragansett High School, Mia DeLuise, Grace Cronin, Kaylin McCarthy, and Addison Bonner, who all received many accolades at the most recent Model UN conference, and so they're going to talk to you a little bit about that.
Hello, I'm Katie Jones. I'm the Model UN advisor and also a social studies teacher. Let me tell you very quickly, in case you don't know what Model UN is. It is an academic simulation of the UN, the United Nations. Students role play as delegates from different countries, and they debate global issues. They collaborate with all these other different countries, and the end goal is to draft resolutions that will solve real-world problems. And our Model UN team was founded last year by Ibi DeLuca, who is a graduate from last year, as part of her senior project. And this year we have expanded and have started going to more competitive conferences. Our team this year is led by Addie Bonner, who's our president, Grace Cronin, who is our secretary general, and Mia DeLuise, who is our head delegate. Our goal this year is to expand membership, attend more conferences, which we've already done, and also become more competitive and win more awards, which we have also recently done, which we're very proud of. So far we've gone to Wheeler High School Model UN, and then recently we went to Brown University Simulation of the United Nations about a month ago. We are also hosting Narragansett's first Model UN conference for the 8th graders at the Pierce School in January. The next one. And then these lovely students spent an entire weekend at Brown University representing a bunch of different countries which is very impressive because that meant they came up right after school on a Friday, got stuck in terrible traffic, and then stayed until 10 or 10:30 on a Friday night debating issues such as AI and governance and access to education in rural and indigenous communities and women's rights. And then they went there all day Saturday and then also part of Sunday, which was really amazing. And we have a picture of Matt Rodriguez, who is not here, but he also went, and he kicked butt over there. We have Kaylin McCarthy at our very first Model UN conference, right in the front right there. And then we have Grace Cronin speaking about her ideas for wraparound schools on accessing education. And this is our first conference where we won awards, and I just want to stress how impressive this is because the majority of the students at this conference, there were 750 other students, and the vast majority of them are from private schools, and so we were in the minority as coming from a public school, and we still won awards, which is amazing. So Kaylin won representing Egypt discussing women's rights at her very first Model UN conference, which is amazing. Mia DeLuise and Addie Bonner represented Albania, which is a country that often doesn't get in the spotlight much, so that meant they also powered their way through and made sure people listened to them, discussing AI and governance and action against global terrorism. And then lastly, Mia DeLuise won this award called the Erin Phelan Award, which was for a student who is very active in their community and trying to make the world a better place and also focused on women's rights. And if you win that award, which is for only one student out of the entire conference of 750 people, Brown will donate money to an organization of their choice, and Mia decided to have the money donated to the Johnny Cake Center. So I'm very, very proud of them. They were amazing the entire time for this very long weekend, and that is Narragansett's Model UN team. If you go to the final slide, that's the 6 students who went, and shout out to the Narragansett PTO for funding our first long weekend conference.
Excellent. Well, first off, I want to give a round of applause to this incredible group of students. And, I talk about how wonderful the Narragansett education is and how you all are very much ambassadors to your community, but it was really cool to see it in practice as ambassadors to the countries that you represented. My questions are, actually, how did this program come to be? Was this a club, an organization? How did you guys find out about this program?
So this was actually Ibby DeLuca's senior project last year, and we were all pretty much friends with her at that year, so it was much of a smaller club last year, and then this year I took it over as my senior project to really grow and expand it, and then Grace took a spin on it, and her senior project is making that 8th grade hosting, and then conference.
Excellent. And how do you go about selecting the countries that you represent?
So we don't. Those are assigned to us.
Are they assigned on the day of this event, or can you prepare for it ahead of time and become familiar?
Depends on the event. One that I competed at Wheeler, I actually wasn't given a country or a topic until I sat down in the chair. But for most other conferences, you get told a few weeks before, maybe a few days, depends on the conference.
Excellent. And is this open to just the senior class?
No, this is everyone.
Okay, wow. Well, very excited. I've always been an advocate for students to become more civically engaged, and to see it put into practice, I think this is very exciting. Do you guys know what you want to do for college yet? Any ideas what you want to study? Be interested to hear from each of you if you don't mind.
I was here last month, but I want to go.
Welcome back.
To, my top choice currently is Drexel University in Pennsylvania for their 5-year PA health science program.
Excellent.
I don't have a specific college in mind, but I'm really interested in political science and getting my Juris Doctor. So that's why UN is perfect.
Awesome.
I don't have a top choice yet, but I'm looking into American University, the University of Michigan, and University of Maryland.
Awesome.
Oh, and I'm majoring in political science and public policy.
Oh, cool.
I don't have a top choice yet, but I'm going to study psychology.
Excellent. Well, I just want to, again, say congratulations to you all. You all speak very well. and are tremendous ambassadors to the Narragansett community, and I wish you all the success on your future aspirations, regardless if it's college or whatever avenue you go into. Does anyone else on the council have anything that they'd like to add?
Congratulations. Congratulations to each and every one of you for an outstanding job. I'm just curious, Mia, is it Mia? The award that you won, what do you do for the community?
So the award that I won was through a student at Brown who was the head delegate for one of the Model UN conferences there, and she passed away from a drunk driving accident due to a traumatic brain injury. So the award was for young women in leadership roles. So the money, I got $1,000 total dollars. 500 of that went to the Traumatic Brain Injury Fund to do more research about injuries themselves. And then the other 500 went to an organization of my choice. And this was while SNAP benefits and everything were going on. So I chose to donate the money to the Johnny Cake Center.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Really remarkable.
I just want to say congratulations to you all. It's a great effort on everybody's part. I got to tell you that Spotlight on Schools is one of my favorite moments during town council, and I got to thank the Councilor Vignali for suggesting this. It was an amazing thing, and I thank you all for coming out and sharing with this community what you all do. Narragansett school system is amazing, and you students are amazing. So thank you so much.
Congratulations on all of your accomplishments in only your second year of operation. That is absolutely commendable. I hope to see some of you up here someday.
So with that, I want to give you all another round of applause and wish you all a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. So next on our agenda is our town manager's update, so I'll pass it off to Jim.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. For those of you here this evening, and those of you listening from home, just a few updates for the week. In light of another tragic active shooter case with a tragic end to it, just a reminder to the folks in town that the Narragansett Police has a very active presence at all of our schools. The detectives and school resource officers stay on top of social media and human intel that comes out through different sources, and they communicate that regularly with my office in the schools. And they have a great rapport with the students and the administrators, and they will continue with an increased presence in our schools. I just wanted to let the folks know that. As far as the budget goes, we're in full swing, as you know, preparing the budget for the next fiscal year. This evening's work session with the superintendent and the school committee is a component of that preparation. And in January, I will meet with all department heads, usually multiple times, to address and evaluate each individual budget for each department. And a short time ago, the Narragansett Police Department Honor Guard was presenting the colors at the Boston Celtics and Detroit Pistons game up in Boston this evening. They were represented by Captain Ryan Prest, Lieutenant Ryan McGovern, Lieutenant Keith Legassi, and Patrolman Vinny Santos, who took part in this event when they were invited up to do so, and we're very proud of them for that. Thank you.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Jim?
I would just like to just let everyone know and let the council know that we did have our meeting. Mr. Durkin and I met with the town manager about the wastewater treatment plant that we had talked about. So I just wanted to let people know that Scott Goodson was there, John Gerhart, and I know Scott was there. No, I guess, yeah, Scott, and then I'm going to look Phil. I didn't get Phil's last name.
Phil Ritteni, he's the process controller.
We had a great meeting. We talked about what was happening with the wastewater treatment plant. The engineer went over everything, gave us an oversight as to what the town is doing. The town is working to try to figure out what's happening exactly. They have hired a contracting firm to come in and a consultant to come in to oversee what's happening. There will be an initial meeting sometime this week or next week with the consulting firm. And I think, let me just, and we have a follow-up meeting on January 13th. I'm just trying to think, I don't want to miss anything. We talked about some very, very specific things. We had the opportunity to put forward some of our ideas, some questions, some of our concerns, and have them answered by the engineer, and he did an excellent job in answering our concerns, and to just some things that we had come off the top of our head, whether they were feasible or not feasible. So it was a very informative first meeting. I think it was a great idea for this council to come up with this little ad hoc committee. And like I said, we're meeting again on January 13th. So I'd like to thank the town manager, the engineer, and the wastewater management superintendent, and Scott.
I will pass it along to
Phil,
them.
I'm sorry, Phil, thank you.
I'll pass it along. Thanks, Donna.
And I'll also add that just before this, the council kicked off the budget season with the school committee. So again, I'll make a pitch to the town residents. If you have anything that you would like to have added for perspective throughout this budget season, whether it's the Narragansett schools or anywhere in the town's budget, please reach out to our town manager, Mr. Tierney, and to our superintendent of schools, Dr. Cummings, who will be more than happy to forward your questions and inquiries to us or to the appropriate teams to get those answers for you. So with that, we are now on to the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 17th, 2025 work session?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the open forum portion of the meeting. The comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. Public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation. And please state your name and address. Speak on topics not on the meeting agenda. 3-minute time limit per speaker will be allocated, and please be orderly and respectful. Do we have anyone who signed up?
We have one that signed up, Cheryl Batez.
Hello, Cheryl Batez, 17 Alexander Drive. Okay, my question is, I had put in for a building permit to have a porch built on my home, which was going to be 2 feet wider than it is now. The porch is very small. It's only a 4-foot wide porch on the house, and it's falling apart. It's been 30 years that I've been there, and I can't even hardly open the door on it. But I've put in for that anyways, and I was also told that there was only a plan. I needed I needed a site map and a planning map, and there was only one here at the Narragansett Town Hall, so I had to have a survey done. So that's cost me, quite a bit of money. It's in the $3,000, $4,000 mark right now for a small porch that I'm having put on. I'm just wondering, I've got a denial on it because there's not enough footage with the setback that's on an R20 zone in my neighborhood, and I'm just wondering if that will be changed, hopefully in the future, because I know it's going to take a couple of months to get this, approved or passed, and I'm hoping that in the future, there may be some kind of a variance on the footage that we might have allowed on that. That would be my question.
Thank you. While we can't necessarily engage in a back and forth on this, have you tried reaching out to the town manager or the town directly before this?
Yes, I have, and I've been told that hopefully in the future that they're going to be adding on some another 15%, hopefully, to the amount. I'm only looking for 2 feet to be put on extra on my porch, so I'm hoping that it doesn't cost me another, $20,000 in 10 years to put this on, so.
No, we appreciate your feedback. There is the first public hearing on this, actually, I believe, has already been scheduled for January 20th. So
Okay.
that's when that will be up for consideration. In the meantime, I would recommend just getting it in writing is always helpful. Reach out to the planning board directly if you haven't done so already.
I have, yes.
To provide this feedback and as well as with the town so that we have it on record.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're able to attend the public hearing on January 20th,
Okay.
that would be another great opportunity to get your feedback on record as well.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Tierney.
Mr. Menzies had asked you if you reached out to the town staff and the manager's office. Which one did you reach out to?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Alex had asked whether you'd reached out to the town staff or the town manager, and you said yes. Which one did you reach out to?
Mr. Durkin, I had spoken to.
Oh, okay, because he'd mentioned the manager's office. This is the first I'm hearing about it, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, while I appreciate reaching out to different council members individually, I always encourage everyone to reach out to the town manager directly, so that way we can get answers to you in a swift manner.
It was only a matter of, I had no clue.
No, absolutely, appreciate it, and thank you for coming up here to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else who wishes to speak for open forum on any item not on the agenda? Okay. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve as presented items C1, C2, C3, C4, and, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to approve as presented consent agenda items C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, and C7?
Motion to approve C1 through C7.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to old business. Is there a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the applications to the Narragansett Historic District Commission and Rhode Island Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission for an addition to the existing barn at Sunset Farm?
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Vignali. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the new business from our fire department, item E1. Is there a motion to approve the purchase, implementation, and installation of a new fire station alerting system, FSAS, for Fire Station Number 2 from Purvis Systems, Inc., in the amount of $43,923.40, utilizing the Sourcewell contract?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Anyone on the council have any questions or comments?
I was just reading about what it's going to provide, and it's an excellent system. I'm just wondering, will the other two fire stations be getting updates also at some point?
Good question.
Through the capital budget, you're going to see something.
Perfect, great, thank you. I think it's a great addition to our new firehouse, and can't wait for it to open. Any idea when that's going to happen?
Anyone
We hope by the first of the year.
Anyone else on the council?
Looks like a good place to have a little Christmas party. So, the red doors and before you get all those trucks in there.
I don't disagree. Anyone from the public have any comments on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to item F1 from Parks and Recreation. Is there a motion to approve the request from the Never Done Foundation to conduct a charity 5K walk on Sunday, May 31st, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a rain date of Sunday, June 7th, 2026, subject to approval of state and local regulations?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion, comments from the council? Anyone from the public? Yes.
Hi, my name's Michelle Dunn. I am the founder and president of the Never Done Foundation, so I just wanted to let you all know that I was here in case there was any questions in regards to this. I can tell you I do have one small change. We are going to cancel the rain date portion of it and just would be looking to do the May 31st
Okay.
walk.
So then we will make an amendment to that before we vote. I just want to say, really tremendous foundation, and this charity walk that you guys put on. I believe this is not the first time. Is this the first time?
So this is not really the first time, but it's the first time we're trying to open this up to the public.
Okay.
I am a resident and live within Bonnet Shores, which is where we're looking to have this walk. We have grown between friends and family and neighbors over the last few years, and with upcoming relations with Brown University and Rhode Island Hospitals in our department, we're hoping to make this a much larger event. And so we're starting with a cap of 200 people right in Bonnet Shores. So,
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for providing that update. Does anyone have any direct comments or questions?
So if there's no rain date, if it's raining, it's just canceled? Is that
no,
what's
it's
going to
be
happen?
rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Rain or
Rain
shine.
or shine? Oh, perfect, okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Salitro, do we have to vote on the to amend it and then vote to approve it, just so that we're clear?
I think that's fine.
Just vote in one?
I think one vote will do it.
Okay, thank you. So, everyone good?
You need a motion?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Is everyone good? All right, thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you.
So with that, we have a motion to approve the request from the Never Done Foundation for the charity walk on Sunday, May 31st, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with no rain date, subject to approval of state and local regulations.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We've had our discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. On to the Community Development Department, item G1. Is there a motion to read, pass, and adopt as a second reading an ordinance and amendment of Appendix A of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Zoning, to amend text regarding freshwater wetlands?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This is our second reading. We had an extensive series of public hearings, reviews with the Planning Board. Does anyone else have any final questions or thoughts on the council? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. Thank you. On to item G2. Is there a motion to refer the proposed zoning amendment to Section 9.12, non-conforming use of buildings or structures of Appendix A entitled Zoning, filed by Jack McGreen on behalf of his client Denise Martino to the Planning Board for review and recommendation, and schedule the public hearing on February 2nd, 2026.
Motion to refer?
Second.
Discussion? Does anyone on the council have any questions or comments on this? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to the town council. Oops. Is there, actually, we're on item H1. Is there a motion to discuss and approve the final route for completion of the William C. O'Neill bike path?
Motion to discuss and/or approve.
Second.
Discussion. So, Councilor Torialde, this is your item, so you want to give us a kickstart here?
Alrighty. So back in August or September, we voted to form an ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee met twice, produced a recommendation, and at the last meeting on December 1st, the council started to have preliminary discussions surrounding where we would like the bike path to proceed. This is a follow-up to that meeting to try and hash things out. As a reminder, there is a $3 million STIP grant that is at stake, and that STIP grant is to be used for the completion of the bike path. So with that being said, I'm just going to reiterate my preferred route of where I think the path should go. I think at last meeting, we consensus agreed to proceed behind the Parks and Rec building through the field, and then route TBD. At that point, we didn't necessarily come to a decision. So my preferred route is to proceed down Wanda Street, utilizing what are called sharrows, which stands for Share the Road, which are spray-painted facsimiles of a person riding a bike with a directional arrow. If you ride the current bike path over on MacArthur Boulevard by the post office in South Kingstown, you will see such sharrows, as well as the section of the bike path in Peacedale by the
MacArthur.
after the graveyard section. So proceeding down Wanda with the sharrows, I would then look to proceed down Narragansett Ave, using the parking on the north side of the street as a dedicated bike lane before turning left at the three-way intersection into what's called the linear park. I think that is a good natural ending location for the bike path. It can be a visual indicator as you enter the pier, really the heart of Narragansett, a great visual identity, I feel, for the town. Additionally, you could proceed into the pier at the intersection of Wanda and Narragansett Ave, using some kind of dedicated bike lane or indicator directing folks into the pier. But that is my preferred route, and I would open it up to the rest of the council for their thoughts or preferred routes.
I'm gonna go last because I just have a difference of opinion on the process. I just think that it would be beneficial if we're going to vote on a bike path for it to be drawn out, and so that people, when we're talking, can visualize our thoughts. Like, I know this is unusual, and I know it's up for approval here, and you guys can say, you want to vote on it tonight. I just think that after hearing that, it might be beneficial to have, like, you or each of us draw up our version based on your thoughts and feedback. I know that we've had the extensive reviews here, but it sounds like there's some possible modifications or add-ons to proposed routes. So it's just a thought, but I'm interested to hear everyone's feedback on the paths. It's just my general feedback on if we vote on it.
So, I don't know. I've been looking at maps for 25 years here on this bike path, and I think most of the people that are probably here tonight aren't here for anything else because nobody said anything except for the bike path. So they probably have a pretty good idea of what we're talking about if we can make it clear enough, but we'll see. So I did sit here 25 years ago, and the bike path had stalled at in Wakefield across from the post office where it is now. And it really wasn't going to come into Narragansett unless somebody brought it forward. And I have to say that I was a young council person, and I brought it forward, and I had a lot of pushback from friends and people on the council. But in the end, we worked it out, and we made concessions. We had to go around the what is the cantina now, which was the 108 house. The bike path the old Pier Railroad went right across the road and right through that restaurant that's there at the corner next to the post office. So that was like not an option to go through the restaurant anymore. So we decided to go down MacArthur Boulevard there and hook up with the Pier Railroad tunnel at the end of that street. And then we had another problem. Nobody had a problem going through the wetlands there and stuff because that followed the old track route. But then Schoolhouse Road was a problem because, there was a few people that lived on that street that were concerned about different things that, you know, might have happened 25 years ago that probably have proven to be not consistent with the bike path since it's been built. But, so anyway, I remember talking to Phil Fogarty, who worked for the electric company, about the easement that crossed over onto Mumford Road, and we're able to get a right-of-way through that easement that the Narragansett Electric owned and maintained, and then it stopped right there. So that brought us to Mumford Road. So, you know, the plans back then were to, you know, Conotchet Farms development wasn't built at that time. It was being conceived. And, but the original plan was really to go around the Conotchet Farm property and the South County Museum property and down in Hoxie Lane. So it was going to definitely go through the woods. We used to walk through those woods. There was 3 different paths, and that's where it was going to go. But it just didn't happen. It probably could have happened back then, but it didn't happen. And so it just sat dormant for a while. So the people who took it over after that, the Smiths and Bob Fatava and the people that really wanted it to go, they got it to go around the school and out to the community center. And that's where it ends right now. Now, you know, during this discussion, you know, we've had a lot of discussions. You know, we've heard a lot from different peoples, and we've entertained everybody's thoughts and stuff. And, you know, some people said just leave it, stop there at the community center. And, you know, I think a lot of people that use the bike path might end up stopping at the community center because of the ample parking, and it's just accessible, you know. So I think a lot of people will actually use that parking and get on the bike path the way they're getting on it now. But I think it's, you know, for the people who have tried very hard to get it to the beach or to get it to the ocean, I think we owe it to them to at least come up with a route that we can agree on. And my thoughts, although Wanda Street is probably a more direct route, I feel like, you know, we've had this vote, you know, consensus vote the other night to go around the pond, around the Little League field, behind the batting cages, into that little open area there, and around that wetland or over that wetland. I think coming out at the, you know, the Indian statue there is a nice corner to, you know, come out at. And then I think that I think going to the beach was lost when we couldn't go through, you know, the woods and down in Hoxie Lane, you know, because that would have been, you know, like, everybody would have loved that, and it would have been very natural, but that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. So I think by going through Strathmore and through the South County Museum and out that way now doesn't make as much sense. The pier is developed more. There's more businesses in the pier. I think we can get to the pier like we wanted to get to the ocean, and it's all kind of like one little thing. So if you go down Kingstown Road, which I would prefer, because I think Wanda Street is, you know, I think there's too many houses that have driveways that you have to back out of. You know, it's not like they're big lots where you can drive into your property and then, you know, move your car around and then come out head on. Everybody has to back out, and there's a ton of them. People park on the street in the summertime. There's no sidewalks on Wanda Street. If you look at Kingstown Road or Narragansett Avenue, There's nice wide sidewalks. They were built for pedestrian usage. And Narragansett Avenue, I think, is a problem because we're going to have to give up parking spots, which number, I don't know, somebody said 40 or whatever it is. I don't think we should give up any parking spots if we don't have to. So, Kingstown Road is my option. We have wide sidewalks on both sides of the street. The road is wide, and if we share the road, like, Ryan said about Wanda Street, then, the bikers who want to bike on the road can bike on the road, and then the people or the children can just walk on the nice, beautiful sidewalk that goes down the side of both sides of the road. I mean, nobody uses that. It's very seldom that you see a lot of people there. It's mainly the town hall, that, creates some traffic there in that area. But generally, like when I'm in the pier, I tend to take a right on Caswell Street and go down to Narragansett Avenue and leave town that way. Since the bike path has been an issue, I always go down Kingstown Road just to keep looking at it, So I think Kingstown Road is the best thing in my mind to do, and just to end it right at Caswell Street. Caswell Street being the street that crosses in front of the police station. It continues across, the town there. And it gives you the opportunity to go down Caswell Street and maybe to the beach. It lets you go forward to Memorial Park and Beach Street and all of that stuff. Warm Winds, the old library, there's a comfort station there, so if somebody needs to go to the bathroom or something like that. Or you could go right onto Caswell Street and head over to like Boone Street area. So it gives you these different options. I feel like the second best option's Wandsworth, not Wandsworth, but Wanda. And, it just brings you into chaos down at the end of Wanda. That whole little area there is chaotic. Now, I know people are going to say Kingstown Road is not safe because of the turn. And, I've actually seen where, over my lifetime, I've seen where cars came up Kingstown Road and didn't turn, and they went into the ice plant, so I know that does happen. So I know that we can engineer that so that will not happen. We can put bollards in the road right at that little section there, so it's safe for everybody. But, I mean, people bike on Ocean Road. I live on Ocean Road. People bike around those corners all the time, and it's 3 feet. So if they have a whole road to work on, people get to know it's a biking route, I think it'll be safe, but it's not our job to do that. So if we send that route to the state and they say, hey, we can't do this, this is too dangerous or something like that, then they're going to send it back to us and say pick another route. And then, obviously I think Wanda Street would be that other option. Or you come to the Indian, and then you have an option to go to Wanda. If you want to go to the beach, some kind of kiosk like Donna talked about, you have the kiosk there. You go to Wanda to the beach for the people that want to go to the beach. And then, the people that really aren't familiar with the area would go across Kingstown and just down into the pier where the businesses really want those people. So, we should send the people where they're wanted, not where they're not wanted. So I think that's my feeling, and it just seems to be the thing that would make the most people happy, and that's what we did when we did, Phase 3 of the bike path. It just solved a lot of problems, and nothing's perfect. I could see Kingston Road and Caswell Street. I could see it extending to Beach Street, which evidently is owned by the state. I don't know why it's owned by the state, probably because, you know, Memorial Park used to go out to the ocean at one time, and the state road went around the post office, and so that little section's left there, but I think that could connect into Boston Neck Road. So you could go to Wickford if you really want to bike that far. I think that's, I don't know, I think that's all I got to say. I had a bunch of notes, but
No, I think
that's,
I think you said it very well. So, Councilor Vignali?
So basically, I have to agree with Councilman Durkin on just about everything he said. What I would like to see is coming through the park, maybe across the brook, and in the area of the Indian, I would like to see that made into a little park area where we have some benches and we have some pretty flowers and a bike rack and a kiosk or a map that would show either tourists. I mean, you're going to have two types of bikers. You're going to have the people who are going to be the bikers, and you're going to have people who are tourists who really are not familiar with what Narragansett has to offer. So have that type of a kiosk there that it can show that, you know, the museum is here. It doesn't necessarily have to be a path to the museum. It could just show where it's located so that if somebody's interested in going to the museum, they can make that decision to go there. We could show where the towers, we could talk about all the historical places within Narragansett are. We could talk about the restaurants, you know, show where all the restaurants are. We could have a map, you know, you go into a mall that has a map of all the stores and what's available in the Pier area, so people can see that there's, I think it's still there, the Kite store and whatever store is in there, if there's something that they're looking for, particularly looking for, or just wanted little souvenirs or something from Narragansett. I think at that point, people can make a decision. I personally think we should go down Kingstown Road. I think we need to go down Kingstown Road, and like Councilman Durkin said, try to engineer maybe that corner a little bit, let the state look at it, see if there's something that can be done to maybe, you know, engineer that corner a bit, but we can go down that way. I would like to end at the new library and have the same exact thing for people who are starting on that end, and have the same kiosk that says the same information, so that people who start down on that end, or when a biker gets down there, knows that the comfort station is to your, well, if you're facing it, to your right, and have all that information available so that it's on both ends. It's there and it's in the park area. And I think I am not, although I strongly support Kingston Road, I'm not opposed to putting Sharrows down Wanda if somebody wants to go that route to the beach. I don't think we should, I personally don't know that we have to promote two bike paths. I still like Kingstown Road, but I think if it seems like that might be a way to go, I'm not opposed to that. But I think that would be the way to go, so that we're exposing people to Narragansett, showing them what Narragansett has, what we have to offer, while making it available for them to bike.
Hi. I have not had 25 years' experience talking about this, but I've had a year of it, and it's been quite a trip. So when we were running, Strathmore Street reached out to me several times and voiced their opinion about going down Strathmore, and in the end, I agreed with them about not going down Strathmore. And then I sat at the end of Strathmore and watched people go down Wanda, so then I thought, oh, well, look at all these people going down Wanda, that makes a lot of sense to me, and then I heard everybody from Wanda talking to me, and I listened to them as well. I am opposed to going down Narragansett because whether it's 40 parking spaces or 80 parking spaces, whatever the truth,
87.
Maybe it lies within, I don't know. But I refuse to take away 87 parking spaces from businesses. So the next logical step for me was Kingstown Road, and I truly started falling in love with that way down there. I know that corner seems dangerous, but like like Councilor Durkin, I've been driving it almost daily to keep watching it and looking at it. I do think it can be made safe to go down. I do think that we should end at the comfort station. I think that there's a nice spot there for bike paths. I think a kiosk should go there, certainly. I think we should go through the back of Sprague Park, like everybody has been talking about, but definitely at least making the decision to pull the trigger on this and send it to the state and find out what they have to say about it, I think is the right choice. We trigger the $3 million. We trigger everything positive. We've listened to everybody about all the different directions that it could possibly go, and I just think that's the right way to go. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Just a general question, Jim. Do we know once we vote on, I don't know if it's going to be tonight, maybe it will be, what would the next steps be and what's the expected turnaround time from the state?
I can't speak for their turnaround time.
Right.
But if the council were to pick a route, it would go to RIDOT because it's in the State Traffic Improvement Plan.
Mm-hmm.
That
Okay.
would be, they will not make the decision for the town, though.
Right.
They want a decision from the town one way or the other, but they won't make a decision for the town.
So if the town decides to go, say, a hypothetical, we're not doing this, it's based on this conversation, but if we were to have sent it down Narragansett Ave, and the state looks at it and says, okay, how are we going to make this as safe as possible and implement it? Can they do that, or is it specifically as written and proposed?
Well, they will work with us.
Okay.
Even if an option is chosen, it still has to be designed.
Okay.
Okay? And if it affects us, depending upon exactly what the choice is, whether CRMC gets involved, state roads are involved. So those are all factors, but ultimately, if a decision is made, it still has to be designed.
Yep. Okay, thank you. And I just want to, again, echo my desire, and it sounds like the desire of the councils, that we want to see this done. And it's, this is a project that's been going on for many years, and I think that we owe it to everyone who has put in the time and energy to get it this far, to get it over the finish line. And I appreciate everyone for being here this evening, especially during the frigid weather and the very busy holiday season. The feedback that you guys have provided us, either through email or at the last council meeting, or through the workshops of the ad hoc committee, has been tremendously helpful. My mind has changed probably. I've actually thought I was going into every meeting thinking I was going to go down this route, and then I hear more feedback and I'm like, nope, I'm going down this route. My mind has been flip-flopping the entire time. I actually went into this campaign with a very open mind, and I really appreciated the spirit of the bike path and the intent of what the Canacha Trail design originally was meant to do, and that's why I originally liked the Strathmore route, because it seemed, based on the feedback from Dupreet, that was a very safe route. It was going to connect us through a very underutilized South County Museum and get us to the beach as the final destination. And I still think that the beach should be the final destination of the bike route, and I don't disagree that with anything that's been said. If it can be implemented and it be safe, then I support whatever bike route that gets decided on. My personal preference is now with Councilor Torialde with Wanda Street. I know and appreciate the feedback that we've heard. I see Wanda Street as a good compromise from a lot of the feedback that we've heard, especially the desire to have a line of sight, a clear line of sight, which again, I think both Kingstown Road and Wanda Street options are good in that they're pretty straight. The curve for Kingstown Road has me frightened. Again, I think about the safety of everyone who would potentially be using the bike path, and that has to be, for me, that's the top priority. And again, I understand, we come up with a route, and there's a good collaborative effort to make sure that whatever route that gets proposed is as safe as possible. For me, I hear what you guys are saying as a desire for where you want the bike path to end. I support the end to be at the Narragansett Town Beach, so that's why I like the Wanda route. But that's really all I have to say on that. But my question is, over here, is how do we go about voting on a proposed route when there's a lot of different parts that have been shared this evening? So, for instance, if we were voting on a proposed route down Kingstown Road, but I know Councilor Vignali brought up a potential path for like a kiosk or something, and then there's a route that would go through Sprague Park that could potentially go over a wetland with a bridge or around that area. I'm just trying to make this as clear as possible when we're voting on it. You know what I mean?
Sure. So ultimately, you need a consensus. So how you get there, and this is ironic, there's no perfect path to get there. Thank you, Jim. Somebody could make a motion proposing one route. There could be an amendment to that motion. Alternatively, that motion may be voted on, it could fail, and another motion could be made. The council president mentioned possibly putting forth options that you may consider, option 1, option 2, and so on. That's a long way of saying there's no set path, but ultimately you need a consensus.
Okay.
So can I ask a question then? Things like a kiosk, does that have to be voted on this evening, or is that something that can be worked out in the details?
Jim, is that something that DOT would want to see now, or is that some minutia that can be added at the end?
That would take a very small role in any design. However, because chances are, whatever type of kiosk that the council wants, it could take on many forms. But I would include it if you want to have a kiosk or a kiosk-like structure. More importantly is the path itself for the purposes of engineering. Or design engineering, I mean.
Yeah, so, can I talk? No. Yeah, so I just think we should just make it simple, and let the powers to be come back and tell us, well, they're going to ask the town manager, like, do these guys want the kiosk here, where, like, we can talk about those things as they come up, or we'll have a separate meeting now that they have this, 10-year-old decision that's made in certain direction, and so they might come back and say, hey, you guys, that's not a cool, it's not going to work. So, we need to hear that, and then I think once they say we can make it work, then we decide where a kiosk goes, where some benches go, how the signage is on the street, and, that kind of thing. So, and I do think, Alex, I know you want to get to the beach, but you can get to the beach from Kingstown Road. I mean, you just go left and Caswell and you go to the beach, so it's
That's actually a state bike route on that road as well.
So it's, I think it'll work. It's not perfect, but I think it'll work and make, I think, most people happy.
So I have a question. Jim, maybe you're the best person for this. I'm not sure.
Let's find out.
So what if we were to, and just speaking hypothetically here, I don't know if this is the route we're going, what if we were to submit a plan for both, let's say, Wanda and Kingstown Road, diverting in two different directions? Would that, how would RIDOT respond to that? Would that be an automatic rejection because it's not a singular route?
They won't pick the route for you.
And I'm not asking them to, but
if one is, if they ruled one out, then of course that would, realistically, they're only going to rule it out if the CRMC or traffic study says it's not feasible. But other than that, they'll probably look at whatever we have. We probably have to run it by Depreet as well, pay them to do that, and send it to the state from there as the preferred route.
Okay. Then, Jim, if there's a chance that they may rule one of them out, would you be opposed to submitting a plan that fulfills both of these?
Yeah, no, I think I have it in my mind how to make that motion.
Okay.
You know.
Like visually, I'm just thinking here, perhaps there's a fork in the paved section in the park behind the Indian, one directing towards the beach, one directing towards, let's call it the business center.
Yeah, I think you call it like an arterial, like the main, there has to be a main bike path. I don't think there can be two main bike paths. So there has to be probably the main one, and then we suggest an arterial one that is, what do you call it? When it's on the road, it's shallow?
Sharrow?
Shared?
Sharrow. S-H-A-R-R-O-W.
On Wanda Street. And it's just, I think people are going to use Wanda Street anyway. But the people that don't really know where they are, they're going to use the one that is on the map or on Google, and that's probably going to be the one we pick. People are still going to go through Wandsworth.
So I think that,
I mean,
Wanda.
Strathmore.
Yeah, people will go through.
Just a reminder,
The bike,
whatever route you pick, the next step will be, we will go to Depreet. They have to do a full design before we submit it to the state, not just a pencil on a map. 'Cause with everything, if it's close to wetlands, it's on a state road, any traffic studies, things like that, that all has to be wrapped up together to bring it to the state. That's for each one, if we're going to submit two.
so this evening, could we, say, make a motion that we would like the bike path to go through the park, and at the Indian area, down Kingstown Road, and then just determine, and that would be the motion, and then determine where we want it. I mean, I think there's some differences in where we want it to end. I think we would have to determine at what point the bike path ends, but could we just be that, not that specific, just the actual where the route is, and then determine everything else after that, where the kiosk is going, where everything else is going?
Again, whatever route is chosen, the engineering firm would have to look at it. And RIDOT would probably be a component of that too, going back and forth before the product is finalized. But I guess if you do pick a route, the next step would be we would contact the engineer and go, well, this is the route they picked, let's see if we can do it. What are we talking about here? Do we have to widen the road? That's what we do with RIDOT. Does the road have to be widened? Does the sidewalk have to be repaired? Do the poles have to be removed from the sidewalk? Is it near a wetland? Is it CRMC getting involved? All that would have to be worked out before we go forward. And that would have to be with each proposed route.
And I think at the end of the day, the end, if we went down Kingstown Road, I think the and/or end at the Comfort Station and/or the new library would probably be a direction. They're both within proximity of each other. So
Right, so would it have to be specific to, it's going to end at the old library, at the new library? Is it going to just end at
I do think that's
Caswell? I mean,
important.
does it have to be that specific that we need to specify exactly where it's going to end?
I think
Or could
it
we
should.
say at this point, we're going to get it to Caswell, and then at that point, we can determine where it's going to go? I don't know, I guess that's my question.
I just think if we're just simple with the decision, then they're going to, get all these maps out. They're going to listen to what we said tonight. They're going to listen to this thing, the meeting, and they're going to ask us questions through the town manager. And I guess we'll have another hearing to talk about those different things. And I think that, if you think about the William bike path that goes up to the train station, I mean, after it was built, they put an arterial route over to URI that, goes next to that farm there. That wasn't part of the original plan, I remember. And they did that. So we could add that. So if Wanda was something that, ended up being like a suggested, arterial route to the beach, like, I don't have any problem with that, I mean.
So are you saying to include that in this proposition, or is that something that would be added years down the line?
I think we could, I know Jim's going to say he wants like a specific route, but I think
Structured and processed, yes.
I think arterial is a word that we could use and suggest Wander as an arterial from the main route of Kingstown in the motion, if you'd like.
So I guess my question would be, if we have, just say, a kiosk at the Indian area, and it specifies that the museum is here, okay? And so it shows the location on a map, and then it says, well, the beach is here, there's going to be a photo of the beach, and it's going to show Wanda Street. Do we have to specifically, do you think it's important that we specifically indicate that that's a bike path, or do we leave it up to the people who are reading the map to determine whether or not they want to go down Wanda Street, or they want to go over to the museum? Or do you think it needs to specifically say, this is the bike path to get there? I guess that's my question.
To me, I think, yes, it needs to be defined, at least going down Wanda towards the beach. Jim said there was a little bit of chaos down at the end of Wanda. Without clarifying any of that, you're putting a biker into chaos. So, which is why I am proposing the elimination of the parking on the north end side of Narragansett Ave. You would come out of Wanda onto a less chaotic location.
Thank you. That makes more sense to me now, why it needs to. Thank you.
Respectfully, that we also don't know what kind of feedback we're going to get regarding the placement of a kiosk at that location, because I do know that that's where the Narragansett Indian Head is, and I want to be respectful of that whole area, and I know you do as well. So I don't necessarily think that we need to make a decision on the kiosk part of it, but I definitely think that the final destination of this proposed route needs to be defined if we're voting on it.
So I think the final destination is the pier. I think then we can work out a destination in the pier at that point. I really think we should keep it basic and simple and go down Kingstown. I don't think we should be throwing Wanda in on that as of now. I think that is something you can visit later on if that needs be. Like, again, I sat there and watched bikers go down Wanda all day long. So, like, if they did that, they're going to do that on their own, and I don't think we should get involved in that portion. I don't think we should encourage it, certainly. But, like, I think we should just make one route, get to the pier, and then people can go where they want to go from there.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a consensus for Kingstown Road. And I know we've heard a lot from the general public on this, and the council has come to a consensus, it sounds like, on a route. Does anyone have any additional things that haven't been spoken about already at a previous meeting or up here already this evening? I just want to be respectful of everyone's time and for having taken the initiative come out here. There will be a lot of other opportunities, I guess, to talk more about the nuances of whatever proposed route. It does sound like it needs to still go to the DOT for their review, as well as CRMC, and so I just want to be respectful. If there's anyone here who would like to add, yes. Nope, I was talking to the individual in the back right first. Sorry about that.
Please keep in mind that RIDOT has given wide latitude to the town to end it where we choose, just to remind you.
Yep, thank you.
Rosemary Smith, 24 Castle Road. I wanted to speak tonight about the fact that I'm very concerned about the Kingstown Road bike path plan. And so I've spent since August listening to the ad hoc committee and the presentations before the town council and the town council tonight. And I have a great problem with Kingstown Road and the fact that the curve at the ice plant is very dangerous. There are 8 cross streets that come in. There are privet hedges which could be removed. And so it is not a clear path down to Caswell Street. When you get to Caswell Street, you do leave the public at a dangerous point. There is parking on both sides of the road on Caswell and on the lower part of Kingstown and down to Memorial Square. You've provided no path for that person to get from that area down to the coast. You've put them in a road that has parking on both sides. There's already been a casualty there 5 years ago when someone was crossing the street. So crowded with cars and with parking, and now we want to add bicycles and pedestrians to that area. To get to the library, they would have to go either down Caswell or down Kingstown Road. It's very dangerous. So David Smith and I have proposed the Wanda Street area, and we have talked to a lot of people about Wanda Street, and it seems that many people are already taking that road to get down to the beach. It is the safe way, it's the straight way. People feel confidence in that. Maybe not all people, because some people don't need that kind of a setup to ride their bicycles. But most of the people that we talked to have said, even if you built Kingston or you worked on Kingston, they're going to take Wanda, because that is the way to access the beach area and to go forward on the bike route that heads north to Wickford. So I'm asking you to reconsider the Kingston, though it sounds like the consensus has already been done before the public had a chance to speak about it. I'm asking you to consider it. I'm also going to tell you that David Smith and I are going to offer our plan to the Rhode Island Department of Transportation also, because the criteria for a bike path has changed, Jim, since you were working on it many years ago. There's a whole new state plan that has recommendations for what should be in it, and it's all in the Rhode Island Bicycle Mobility Plan for 2000. It says you got to connect to another path. Okay, I'm up. But anyways, so I'm just asking you to reconsider and notifying you that we are sending the plan for Wanda Street. So it would be great if you would include that tonight as possible, because that sounds like, you know, maybe working together as a team, which I hope we can do. Thank you so much.
And I think there was a gentleman over here. Yep.
Joseph Fitzsimmons, I live on 7th High, Conachit. I have one question. Nothing's been designed right now. You have a $3 million budget. After it goes through the fully designed, fully approved, it exceeds the $3 million. What happens?
Oh, that's a good question, Mr. Tierney. I know that there was an extensive review of these different alternate routes that were proposed. If the council should decide to go down a route and it exceeds the $3 million bond, what would happen next?
We're on the hook for it.
Yeah. So, thank you.
A lot of the information that's been provided already by Dupree, they'll cull that out if a particular route is chosen. They'll cull some of that information that they've already put in there. They've already done some of the legwork on it, but they'd have to finalize it before, and then we'd work with RIDOT on whatever one's selected. But yeah, the $3 million is the $3 million, that's it.
And I assume that the $3 million was taken into consideration when each of these alternate routes were proposed to us.
I don't know about that.
No,
Okay.
no, there hasn't been discussion on the construction. Those are just the viable and non-viable routes, that's all.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Yes. Oh, sorry, I saw it green first. I'll start here, and then I'll go back here, and then over here.
Arlene McAleer, 35 Wanda Street. I just have some concerns. Many of the bike paths that have been proposed, The town hired engineers to make extensive research, to do reports. There are traffic studies. There are pedestrian studies. It shows you exactly what's going to be happening on those roads, what signage is going to be there, what's side of the road it's going to be on. Wanda Street has not had any of that done. Traffic studies have not been done. If you do one on a Saturday or Sunday, all day long, you'll see how much traffic is on that road, or late in the afternoon. We don't know whether parking will still be allowed on Wanda Street. That has not been discussed. What signage? We talked about the arrows to share the road. Is it going to be a line down one side of the street? What side of the street? Is it going to be share the road signs? Is the speed limit going to change? We don't know those answers. They haven't been vetted yet. It talked about coming across Strathmore Street. At the end of Wanda and Strathmore Street, where the stop sign is, that's a very bad corner. There are blind spots. If you're going to turn left onto Strathmore, you have to be very careful and look both ways several times before you come out of that street. If people are going to go through the park and try to cross Strathmore Street to get into Wanda Street, again, you have cars coming in a lot of directions. It's very dangerous. And I just want you to take into consideration, we need to have those studies done, those reports done by professional people before you decide going down Wanda Street is a good path. You know, you have not gotten information like you have about the other streets. The Strathmore Street, you had a wonderful presentation. Kingstown Road, Narragansett Avenue, all of those studies were done with great information and great research. Wanda has not had any of that done. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman in the back I saw.
Hi, Randy Fixman, 51 Winterberry Road. I did not get hurt biking in town. But first, I'd like to thank Mr. Torrialde and the council president for their thoughtful and logical reasoning for choosing Wanda Street. This is the safe, direct, and most cost-effective corridor. For those of you choosing Kingstown Road, this decision defies common sense. You picked the one alternative in the PAR report, which was part of the breach study, that they specifically said not to choose. You're gaslighting us. You looked at this through the prism of whether this decision directly benefits real estate interests in town, including some of you, and decided, no, it won't, so it's not worth upsetting a handful of people whose concerns are almost entirely without basis. I love this town, but often we're our own worst enemy, unable to make common sense investments in the community because we need to appease landlords making piles of cash and entitled boomers. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I saw over here, yep.
Hi, Chris Slatney, Wakefield. I'd like to echo what some other people have said already, in that I can't believe that you are still talking about Kingston Road. I would like to remind this council that the previous council consulted with DePreet. They subcontracted out to PAR to do preliminary design of these road routes. The design and engineering has been done. The conclusions were clear. Kingston Road is not recommended. It is not recommended because, I'll say it again, there's not sufficient room to add any specific bike infrastructure. It's too dangerous. The recommended route was Narragansett Ave. The ad hoc that should have been the end of it, frankly, but this council is choosing to ignore that study. They formed an ad hoc committee. The committee didn't agree on much, but they did agree that Kingston Road should be off the table. And the majority did vote on the Narragansett Ave route. And ignoring both the engineers that did the study and the ad hoc committee seems a little negligent to me. If someone goes down Kingston Road, if my kid goes down Kingston Road and gets hit by a car, that's going to be you guys' fault. Like, do you want that on you? You say safety is your top priority, but the safest recommended option was Narragansett Ave, so it sounds like to me that your priority is really not losing on-street parking. That's your prerogative to make that choice. I think it's wrong. I think you should have the courage to actually do something, which is actually building infrastructure, and the only place you can build bike infrastructure is Narragansett Ave. Wanda Street, Kingston Road, they're not going to look any different. You can put sharrows in the road. It doesn't make it any safer. People can bike down those roads now. With regards to the end of the route, you can make it not end at the beach, but everyone bikes down here to get to the beach. You see people at the linear park on the wall, they will be going there. If you make the route not end at the beach, it's a disservice to everyone that then will proceed down to the beach. It's an unnecessary danger. I have a feeling you're not going to choose Narragansett Ave the whole way, so I'll say Wanda Street is a great alternative. Driveways are not dangerous. Parked cars are not dangerous. People back out of driveways at 5 miles an hour, if that. You can see them, you can avoid them, they are looking out. What is dangerous is being passed at high speeds. I have been hit by a car on Kingston Road. I do not bike that way. So I'd urge you to consider the Wanda Street route if you choose to ignore the recommendation of both the engineers and the committee of Narragansett Ave. Thank you.
Thank you. And I forgot who, gentleman right here.
I'm David Smith, and I am proposing I live on 24 Castle Road in Narragansett, and several items. One, concerning the kiosk, that should be at the community center. That's where people are starting to make decisions. So if you want to get to Boone Street, you want a safe passage there, so you're going to use the safe routes to school passage starting at on Prospect Avenue. And then going down Central Street. So you need to direct the wayfinding at the community center. That's the point of decision. You can repeat it later, but start it there. Whatever route you choose, you should eliminate parking on the north side of Narragansett Avenue along Lake Conotchet. That's a mess down there. That's a very, very dangerous thing. Using the bike path to go down Wanda and then continuing on Narragansett Avenue to Boston Neck Road gives you the advantage of taking care of that road either with a bidirectional bike lane and a reasonable sidewalk or a multi-use path for both pedestrians and bicyclists. Concerning Wanda Street, there have been many, many studies. In 1990, when the citizens group from Narragansett and South Kingston looked at possible ways, they directed the path to go down Wanda Street. And Wanda Street has been studied in every single feasibility study since then, with the exception of the Dupree reports. And it wasn't included because at that time they were not instructed to look at it. So Wanda Street has been studied. The map, the original map for the for the bike route in 1991 ended at Wanda Street and Castle. It didn't get quite to the beach, but I think we should get to the beach. Also connecting with the bicycle bikeway towards along Boston Neck Road. When I moved back to this area, I moved to Narragansett among other reasons, for Narragansett Beach. It wasn't for the IGA market and the pier. I think the beach is the natural destination for tourists and vacationers. So please, as said before, I will definitely propose the Wanda Street plan if the Kingstown Road is chosen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep, on the right. And then I'll go in the front.
Thank you, Scott Feder, Wanda Street. Just going to start by saying I find it myself trivial tonight after recent happenings to talk about a bike path. People have lost their lives. People are in a hospital and we're talking about a bike path. You have to do that. I don't have to be up here doing this, and I feel a little bit embarrassed that I am, to be honest with you, tonight. But I'm going to do it because listening to this. Just really quick, Wanda Street is narrow. Mr. Durkin, you were really clear. I thought the way you described Wanda Street is exactly how I find it living on it. Yeah, there's 40 residents, there's 40 driveways. During the summer, it's home to landscape trucks, delivery vehicles, garbage recycling vehicles, and street used for through traffic when it gets tight around that bend and around the light. I don't know how emergency vehicles get through there. They use it to avoid, if it's needed, the chaos of the other side. But really what I want to say tonight is this. I want to consider, the report says that there's expected 100,000 bikers a year to come through. Let's go with the report. I'm going to say that 70% of that is going to happen for the 10 weeks when school ends till the end of Labor Day. Let's go 10 weeks, 7 days a week, 70 days. 70 days at 70% is 1,000 bikers a day. We're up here discussing whether or not the council thinks, and two of you believe this is a good idea, to purposely direct 1,000 bikers a day down Wanda Street. 1,000 bikers a day at the busiest time of the year, down a street where there's going to be a ton of stuff happening, especially that time of year. Not only do you have all the cars pulling out, you said it, Mr. Durkin, it's exactly correct. My driveway is a few feet off of the street. What I mean where my car has to sit. It's as far as it can go. I'm nervous now in the middle of any time to pull out backwards. I can't do the turnaround. I'm not the only one. But you want to direct 1,000 people down that street? It's not wide. To get out of a driveway, you have to do basically a K-turn. The entire car hits the entire width of the street. That's the reality. Go do it. You can't do it you can't get a car out of there any other way. Why would you purposely do that? Last week we had a woman up here, I don't know her name, so I apologize if she's here for not using it. She talked about 4- and 5-year-olds unsupervised being concerned about Kingston Drive. You want to send anybody through a gauntlet of cars, trucks, on purpose? I'm not trying to be dramatic. You're going to have injuries. Other people can say that. They want to be dramatic, let's be dramatic. People not even from this town want to be dramatic. You're going to purposely direct 1,000 bikers a day in the middle of the summer? Man, I don't know. I'm confused by that. I'm confused that that's an option that you're considering, just like other people are confused that you'd be considering Kingston. But thanks for hearing me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Yes, oh, sorry, I forgot.
Hello, my name is Kathy Lewis, and I live at 5 Caswell Street. And for context, I'd like you to know that that house is on the corner of Wanda Street and Caswell. So because I have windows galore, I have a bird's eye view of what happens on that corner coming down Wanda Street and entering into Narragansett Avenue. I know that at 6:15 in the morning, both sides of that street is filled with cars, parked cars, for those that want to swim or use the beach for yoga or the other associations and groups that meet at the beach. So removing parking not only affects those of us that use it for guests at that end of the street, but also many people that rely on the beach for their livelihood and their mental health and well-being. I also would like to caution you for using a deadline to the $3 million. I understand that that, in fact, has no deadline. So considering all of what has been said, with the idea that an emergency discussion needs to happen in order to access those funds, I'd like clarification on whether or not that is actually true. In addition, you've heard many, many people speak, very few of them who actually live on Narragansett Avenue. Those of us that do some traveling, who do use bike lanes in other places, are fully aware of how shared road bike paths or bike routes work. And I agree with Mr. Durkin that with some deep investigation and research, perhaps there are options that would create a safer environment for a shared road on the Kingston Road option. I highly encourage you to not consider the Wanda for the reasons that you have already heard. The intersection at Swarthmore is very dangerous. It does not have good sight lines. At the end of the street where Wanda meets Narragansett Avenue, it is a disaster. Not only do you have people who come around the corner from Narragansett Avenue, you have emergency vehicles that are constantly using that road. You have people who come into Wanda Street thinking that it is a cut through and cut that corner at 40 miles an hour. It is an impossible consideration to put a bike path or bike route at the end of Wanda Street merging onto Narragansett Avenue. Please consider it strongly before making your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak who hasn't done so already? Yes, in the back.
Susan Orban, 113 Montauk Road. So, at risk of beating a dead horse, I know that I've passionately spoken to you twice before on this issue, but there's a big difference between people who are very comfortable riding on roads anywhere and people who ride on bike paths. And yes, Jim, I agree with you that the sidewalks on Kingstown Road are wonderful to walk on and could certainly be used perhaps by people that are walking or running. But if you've got wheels, sidewalks can be hard for skateboarders, for people and young kids on bicycles that shouldn't be riding on sidewalks if we're teaching them what to do. And if you actually rode the 7.8 miles of the bike path, not just those sections that are sharrows, you would see that it is a protected route with very little traffic, and most bike paths have great destinations. So I've described it starts at the Kingston railroad station, and everyone acknowledges the beach is that destination. I'm sorry, but as someone who rides the path, a conciliation prize of the comfort station doesn't do it for me as a destination to end my ride, nor does a kiosk with where you could go if you want to go off the road. We have an opportunity of a lifetime, a generational decision that's going to impact Narragansett forever. Please consider where bicyclists want to go, and you've heard it over and over again, people, they're driving in Narragansett on their bicycles that are comfortable on the roads, and they're going to the beach. Let's create that on the bike trail. And so I urge you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who hasn't spoken or wants to share something that hasn't been spoken about already? All right, back to the council. Again, really appreciate everyone for taking the time to come out this evening to share their feedback once again. And based on the feedback from Mr. Tierney and Mr. Solitro, is that we would ask, does anyone want to make a motion on a preferred path at this time? Or does anyone have any other alternative that they'd like to propose?
I'll make a motion.
Your mic's not on.
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve Kingstown Road route
with a
to the intersection of Caswell Street. To get there, travel behind Sprague Pond, batting cages, and through adjacent park and/or over the brook and around to the Indian Monument area.
Is there a, so there, the motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second.
Do we need a first and second? Mr. Sutra. Okay, so Councilor Vignali moves that motion, is there a second on that? Did I have that backwards?
I moved.
Mr. Durkin moved the motion, Councilor Vignali seconded, I apologize. Any further discussion, comments on that?
Can I just think you should reverse it, how to get through the park and then to Kingstown Road. Like, instead of coming it the opposite way. Like you said, Kingston Road, getting there by going to,
Oh, you want to start in the pier and go to the community center?
no, I would start at the community center to get to Kingstown Road. Didn't you do it the opposite way?
No, I'm just saying the Kingstown Road path.
Oh, which includes that. Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood it. Okay, I'm good.
So, I just,
Did I say it wrong?
ending at the intersection is weird for me. I thought we should end it somewhere in the pier itself.
Well, I mean,
you
they're
know,
gonna,
like,
they're gonna, they just need the route.
Okay.
They can't engineer 5 different, routes. They
I hear what
need
you're
one.
saying. Yeah, no, I agree with you that they would give us advice.
We're gonna
on
have
that.
another discussion with them, I think, if we agree,
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
And then we can say, oh, we want it to go, dead end at the old library.
Okay.
Build a bike
As long
route.
as it's not, I just don't want it to just end right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to just
Get it down there.
get something
Yeah.
to them.
Okay. All right.
As it seems like the Smiths will be submitting their plan as well, could we not include that in our proposal, just to codify it? Get
As
state-
an alternate?
As an alternate or an arterial?
Mr. Solitro, sorry, back to a question here. There's one proposed route that is a first and a second. We're discussing that. But Mr. Torrealde here has asked if it makes any sense from a procedure-wise to also consider an alternative route at this time as well, should DOT not agree with whatever the first choice is.
So there's a motion and a second. You're in discussion right now. That's the motion on the table.
Yes.
You may continue the discussion, and one council member may say, I'm not in favor of this, but I intend to raise another motion. That may be what happens. But there is a motion that should be acted on this before the council.
Okay. Which we can vote down to bring in your additional alternative for consideration, but, so it sounds like.
So I guess
Yeah.
to that end, I would intend to vote no on this and would produce a counter motion.
Right, if there isn't a majority vote on that, on this proposal. So, I like again, I'm in favor of the Wanda Street as the preferred route, but again, I think we have a motion that's been moved and seconded, so that's what we're going to vote on first. unless you want, and I don't think we're going to amend that motion unless somebody wants to. So,
Well, I don't mind, what I think is going to happen is, if this goes through, is like, people are still going to go down Wanda Street. I mean, we're not going to put up no biking signs or no walking signs of bike on.
You're right, so I say let's codify that.
But we're not sending them down Wanda Street. We're not sending them down Wanda Street now, so nothing probably will change. So, but what will change is that the people who don't know where to go are going to tend to go Kingstown Road to the pier and meander to the beach, meander to the shops, meander to Boone Street.
I don't think that's a suitable ending. You can't just end at a meandering. You need a solid destination to go to.
Well, it's the pier. Like the arterial road that goes to URI goes across a main thoroughfare.
Yep.
Like 138, next to that cemetery there. And it just meanders into the university's campus. There's the university's campus is bigger than the pier. So you can go to all different, you can go get ice cream, you can go to the Coast Guard house, you can go sit at the bench next to the Coast Guard house, you can go walk, you can park the bike, hopefully rack somewhere, and you can walk to the beach. I mean, a short walk.
I'm not opposed to ending in the pier, but again, I don't think it's the ending destination. It's an ephemeral pier. If we were with pier in quotes, I think if we were to proceed down Wanda, proceed down Narragansett, we could have a definitive start and ending location as the start end of the path that isn't dispersed into the pier.
Well, like I said before, I don't have a problem with a kiosk, putting Wanda Street on a kiosk or something, but I think if we send them two routes, then we're just going to be wishy-washy, and we're going to be back in that same.
I disagree that it's wishy-washy, because if we can put up some signage that says this way to the beach, this way to the business district, that is a clear intent that you can go either way. You have two locations.
I have two questions. So is your intent, do you see at the end of Wanda going to the beach that people are going to park their bikes and actually go onto the beach? Is that what you're envisioning? I mean, I'm thinking of people who are starting way up in South Kingstown or whatever, who get there and don't realize that they have to pay to get on the beach. And then all of a sudden they say, well, I can't do that.
I think if you live down here, you kind of know that you have to pay out of town.
But I'm just saying, if you have tourists, so that's just one thing. The other question I have is, I think from what I'm hearing from your last answer, going down Wanda, and why you think it's necessary that we specify that is because when we get to the end, there's going to be work that needs to be done, and we're going to have to use some of the money to get that work complete. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I took from the last time you answered the question. So in order to be able to do what you want to do, we're going to have to do some work down in that area.
We're going to have to do work on Kingstown, too, it seems.
Right, no, I'm just saying, so to say both, we would have to say both in order to be able to do the work on both. And that's, okay. I just wanted to be clear that what I was thinking is correct. Thank you.
I would also add that the point, from my perspective, is, again, respect to our neighbors in South Kingstown, but a lot of the feedback that I've acquired has been from Narragansett residents in the immediate area, and it's providing a safe avenue for those to either walk or ride their bike who live locally already, who wish to ride their bike to the beach. And I do know a lot that already do that. And again, it's just in the spirit of what the intent of the bike path, the ultimate end destination. Again, was my perspective, was that I think it should end at the beach, and I think that's, again, what Councilor Torialde has said. But again, we're not talking about, that's not the motion here. It's, it was the alternative consideration to what's being proposed by Councilor Durkin is, can we throw Wanda in as a alternative option? I think, I appreciate it being an alternative option. I don't think it would be clear in our submission, if we say, here's option 1, here's option 2. My fear would be, is that going to delay the process even longer with the DOT? Is DOT going to be hesitant to provide us with feedback, knowing that, based on whatever decision that the DOT makes, that it'll look like they're the ones who are deciding which route we're supposed to go down? I think it's our responsibility to decide which of these options and to be all-inclusive in one vote. If an alternative needs to be considered because DOT rejects option 1, I think that we should consider that at a later time. So with that, I don't know if anyone else has anything additional that they'd like to add. I know we're discussing, we're reviewing Kingstown Road. Anything else? No. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me. All those opposed, I vote no.
No.
Sorry about that. Vote passes 3-2. And with that, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
Oh, God, 25 years.
I was just like all over the place with that.
How many are leaving?
Quite a few.
Lawyers leaving. Huh? Lawyers leaving. He didn't say that. He knows one. You know, right? Oh, thanks for
Thank you. He has this idea of helping people out in retirement. No, I haven't. Well, yes, no, I told him. I told him before the last hearing. He said, no, we want to hear it. Because they want her to do it. So that's when he said that. You weren't there. He told that to Linda. Linda said, I told Linda, I said, I talked to someone. This is my recommendation. He has an interest. And she's like, that's a great idea. And So it's resolved? That is no one here. Lighting messages. Patrick's getting it. He told me.
Oh, I'll wait. All right. Welcome back. And we're now on to item H2, a motion. Is there a motion to refer the proposed amendment to section 7.23 student occupied dwellings located in a R10, R10A, or R20 zone within Appendix A entitled Zoning to the Planning Board for review and recommendation and schedule the public hearing for February 17th, 2026?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. So this is an item that Councilor Torialde and I co-sponsored together quite some time ago. I don't even know which month it is now because of how much time has passed, but we had a sit-down with the planning board, reviewed this proposed amendment. I thought that it was a really good discussion that the town council had with the planning board. We had some pretty good questions asking for context at the time, and provided an update that the unrelated ordinance that went into effect last year, which we have now since codified into our Narragansett ordinances, that stipulates 1 per bedroom up to 5 unrelated. We agreed that that was clear, but we also understood that there's work being done at the state level to better define unrelated. However, a student ordinance and how a student is defined, we believed it was more, a student is more defined, and therefore, with the number of people who have come up to us asking, why aren't you enforcing this? How come you're not enforcing this? This is our answer to be able to enforce the college student rental ordinance. And I had brought it up as a concern at a discussion with the planning board at the time that we have a statewide ordinance and a recommended ordinance that came directly from the planning board that stipulated 1 per bedroom up to 5 unrelated. That was the agreed upon by the council. That was already voted on, and it's already on our books. But we also have a conflicting 3-student ordinance. And I understand, and I am not denying, and I don't think Councilor Torialde denies, correct me if I'm wrong, that the 3-student ordinance at the time, and 4-student, I know that that number was back and forth a couple of times, at the time in which it was created was legal. It was determined in court to be legal, and that is not what we are challenging at this time. That was determined to be legal before the state law went into effect last year that stipulated the statewide law was 1 per bedroom up to 5 unrelated. And now we have a 3-student ordinance that conflicts with our 1 per bedroom up to 5 unrelated that we currently have on our books here in Narragansett. And in order to clean up the language, and we went back and forth as to whether or not we should rescind the student ordinance outright and then just keep 1 unrelated ordinance on the books, because that too was a recommendation by members of the planning board in the past. But we decided that the best compromise would be to have a student ordinance on record and to modify the number from 3 to 5 up to 5. So we're not recommending that 5 students rent a house. It's up to 5 and unrelated, so that it would be very similar language to what's already on our books, and it would therefore be better enforced by the town, because, again, in my discussion with our solicitor, that the term unrelated is still being defined at the state level, but a student is more well-defined. And the way that Councilor Torialde and I agreed is that if we were to modify the language of the student ordinance to reflect what's already on our books similarly, so that it's 1 college student per bedroom up to 5 unrelated, then this would be enforced, and it would eliminate a lot of the gray area there. So, Councilor Torialde, have I said anything did I misspeak? Did I say anything that you don't agree with?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay. Sorry.
Initially, I wanted to rescind this. Cooler heads prevailed, and we elected to update the ordinance from 3 college students up to 5. This, to me, I think was passed directly in opposition to, let's call it the eight-bedroom boarding houses that have popped up around town, in Bonnet, in Eastward Look. I, in no way, shape, or form, endorse those. I think they are a visual problem to the community there, and this will go a way towards trying to prevent any future ones from popping up. And that's all I have to say on that.
Anyone else?
I would just like to, when we refer this to the planning board, I would just like to have their opinion as to whether we need to add language to this, where it says the maximum number shall not apply to NARR certified recovery residents, if it should say and not included, not to include hotels, motels, rooming, boarding homes, or commercially zoned properties. I don't know if it's necessary to have that language in here, but I would like the opinion of the planning board as to whether or not it should be in there.
Okay. Thank you. And I don't think you're going to participate in this discussion, correct? Okay. Thank you. And this is just a referral. There'll be a public hearing. The planning board will have time to discuss and review. If the planning board should have any issues with the deadline, please reach out to us directly with any concerns. And with that, does anyone from the public have any specific comments on the specifics of the referral? Okay. With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. Next, on to item, where are we on this? I-1 from the town clerk. Is there a motion to appoint one individual for a 2-year term set to expire on October 1st, 2027, and 2 individuals for a 3-year term set to expire on October 1st, 2028 to the Galilee Advisory Committee?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
All right.
So I'm going to look at our, so just to be clear that linearly here, just remember, keep in mind the language. If you're making a nomination, please tell me if you want this nomination for the term ending October 1st, 2027 or 2028.
All right. As I sit on the Gallery Advisory Committee, I would motion to appoint Margaret Benz to the position expiring in 27.
Okay. Can you just repeat the name? Sorry about that. I
Margaret
couldn't hear you.
Benz.
I'll second that.
Okay. Moved by Councilor Torialde, seconded by Councilor Durkin, for term set to end October 1st, 2027? Mm-hmm. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Any other nominees for a term now? The only option is for a term ending October 1st, 2028.
I would motion to appoint Jennifer Gibson to that seat expiring in 28.
Second. Jason, you got it.
Moved by Councilor Torialde, seconded by Councilor Colonies. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Any other nominations? All right. So those will be the only nominations and votes taken this evening on appointments. And now, is there a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A5 to discuss possible acquisition of real property?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Councilor Torialde?
Aye.
Councilor Colonies?
Aye.
Councilor Durkin?
Aye.
Councilor Vignali?
Aye.
Councilor Menzies votes aye. Thank you.
I think we did good.
Not one. All right, Dan, whenever you're ready. All right. So we were just returned from executive session, and the only votes that were voted on was a motion to seal the minutes of the December 15th executive session, which passed 5-0, and a motion to exit and return to open session, which also passed 5-0. Is there a motion to adjourn at 10:07 p.m.?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Counselor Colony is absent from the vote. Have a great evening.